Hello everyone, I'm meteorologist Charlie Ironmonger. Thank you so much for joining me today for your 2 p.m. news and weather update from the First Alert Desk. I've got news out of Greenville, where community Crossroads is celebrating the opening of a new resource center. After breaking ground on its new resource center last June, community Crossroads is now moving into the new space. Tuesday, today, dozens of volunteers ranging from nearby residents to John Paul II Catholic High School students came to help move supplies from one building to the next. The new building sits beside the current shelter at 207 Manhattan Avenue and will have plenty of resources for those in need, like a clinic, office space, more room for donations, and classrooms. Community Crossroads Operation Manager David Collier says once they finish moving into the new building, construction will begin on the old building, adding 6 more family rooms, providing more space to shelter those in need. Volunteer Lucas Fawcett says he understands the need for Community Crossroads and the resources they will soon provide. He said, quote, "It's really good to have a place for somebody to go and have a place to sleep, have a roof over their head, somewhere to eat, somewhere to stay warm in the winter and cool in the summer," end quote. Now, Collier says once the resource center is up and running, they are hoping to work with the Pitt County Community College and Pitt County schools to offer tutoring and classes. Love a bit of good news like that. Now, unfortunately, we do need to highlight some of the other news that has been going on. This in Texas, where a U.S. Border Patrol facility was opened fire upon over the last few days. Now, again, this was done in apparent organized fashion, as now 10 people have been arrested on attempted murder charges in connection with the shooting outside the Texas Immigration Detention Center last week. Now, the Johnson County Sheriff's Office said an officer was shot in the neck during the attack on Friday after reporting to the Prairieland Detention Center in Alvarado. He was treated at a hospital and released, according to authorities. Now, before that, the group dressed in black began shooting fireworks, damaging cars and a guard structure, and writing graffiti such as "Traitor" and "Ice Pig." Nancy Larson, acting U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Texas, said that all of that, quote, seemed to be designed to draw U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement personnel outside the facility, and it worked, end quote. Now, 2 unarmed correction officers came out of the detention center to speak with the group. Larson said at some point the Alvarado police officer arrived and was shot by someone who was in the woods. Now, she said that another assailant who was across the street nowhere near the corrections officers shot 20 to 30 rounds at these unarmed corrections officers. She added that, quote, there was an AR-style rifle found at the scene, end quote, that was jammed. Now, the group fled, but the sheriff's deputy stopped 7 people about 300 yards from where the officer was shot. The shooting took place as President Trump's administration ramps up deportations, which will be turbocharged by a massive spending bill that became law last week. Additional searches in Alvarado led to masks, goggles, tactical gloves, and more body armor, weapons, spray paint, and fireworks to be found. Now, an extra layer of protection has been provided for staff at the Prairieland Center, said Josh Johnson, acting Enforcement and Removal Operations Field Office Director in Dallas. The 10 who were arrested were each charged with 3 counts of attempted murder of a federal officer and 3 counts of discharging a firearm in relation to a crime of violence. And now we want to turn our attention, of course, to your weather forecast. It is a First Alert weather day today, based on the heat and humidity present out in eastern North Carolina. And that heat and humidity will come down a little bit tomorrow. We'll see a slightly better chance of some afternoon showers and storms than what we're going to see today. For today, though, that heat advisory remains in effect for all areas except for the immediate coast. Now, air temperatures right now reading in the low 90s throughout many inland areas. Windsor right now kind of taking off 95 degrees currently in central Bertie County. Air temperatures along the coast noticeably cooler, mid 80s to upper 80s from Beaufort to Hatteras to Manteo. Again, staying a little bit cooler as you get closer to the water. But here's what it feels like outside. Even the coast at Manteo Right now, feeling like 100 degrees. That is the power of both heat and humidity working in concert, giving us again that big push of very hot and humid conditions. Now, this is what we've got through the rest of the afternoon. 90 degrees by 5, 87 degrees by 6, and falling into the mid-80s by 7 and 8 p.m. at night tonight. Now, again, we are anticipating the southerly wind will hold overnight tonight and into tomorrow, so we're not seeing a big change in humidity from today into tomorrow. It's going to basically be the same humidity-wise. Air temperatures, though, may come down a little bit because we'll see a little bit more rain coming up tomorrow than what we're going to see today. Here's what we got coming up for this afternoon and evening. Again, some showers really wanting to stay on the western side of Highway 17 and kind of trying to hug the I-95 corridor there. Now, as we head through tomorrow, I think we'll have a better opportunity for some coastal showers, as it looks like the sea breeze front will be a little bit more impactful, and that will again lead to a chance of a few showers for everyone. But then those raindrops become a little bit more intense further back towards the west as a cold front picks up on that moisture. Now, that cold front will be moving through eastern North Carolina coming up on Thursday, so plan for a cloudy and wet end of the week. Air temperatures will be taking a hit when those clouds start to roll in, going from the mid-90s today to the mid-80s by the time we reach Thursday, about an 8-degree drop over a 48-hour period. Now, I know that's not much considering the time it's going to take for that drop to occur, but you got to look at the cup being half full. It's the only 80-degree reading we've got over the next 8 days. So again, let's try to appreciate it, enjoy it while it is here, because we are going to be back into the 90s before you know it, coming up on Friday, and then sticking in the 90s through Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday of next week. Well, that's all we have time for today's 2 p.m. news and weather update from the First Alert Desk. I want to thank you all so much for joining me. We'll be back with more news and weather coming up at the top of the hour. Until then, I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday.